Doesn't matter how long you've been watching motocross, you think you've seen it all, you haven't seen anything until you check out the highlights of Round 3 of the Lucas Oil Pro Moto 3 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. Why? Well, just about everything you haven't seen so far in this sport happened today at Round 3, the Toyota Trucks National, 6,000 feet elevation at Lakewood, Colorado. And we've got all the highlights coming up. It's the Racer X Motocross Show coming your way from Lakewood. Jason Weigandt here, of course, your host for the Racer X Motocross Show. We're going to show you the highlights of the first 250 moto. What we're not going to show you is the hour delay that it took to even get this moto started due to hellacious weather that swept through the now aptly named Thunder Valley. We're talking high winds, rain, thunder, and yes, lightning, and that's the one thing that'll stop dirt bikes from racing. The riders had actually gone to staging. They were sent back to the pits and then back to staging. A few of them elected to do a parade lap on a now rain-soaked track. A few of them did not. But they still ran the full 30 minutes plus 2. And when the gate dropped in the moto, Justin Barcia, he's got his starts back. He put his Geico Honda up front. It wasn't long before he had a challenge from Red Bull KTM's Ken Roczen. Those two went at it. Roczen putting significant charges on Barcia, but Barcia able to hold him at bay each time. Meanwhile, other championship favorites were struggling. Blake Baggett caught neutral trying to go from first to second gear off the start and was way back. Eli Tomac had a bad start as well. Tomac actually crashed trying to come through, and Baggett had a similar crash and held them up, but they would rally back to finish 3rd and 4th in the moto. Late in the race, Roczen was trying one more attack on Barcia. He would crash, and that put Baggett right behind him in a knockdown, drag-out duel on the last lap for second. No challenging Barcia down the stretch on this one. He kept it on 2 wheels on a slippery, rutted track to take the win. Roczen just holds off Baggett. Great run for Tomac to come through traffic to finish up in 4th. Going on to Moto 2, the weather was a lot better for this one. A good start by the 58 Geico Honda Will Hahn. Barcia, though, would quickly sweep his way into the lead again, and Roczen would quickly move up to 2nd again with his teammate Marvin Musquin in tow. A little bit better starts for Baggett and Tomac this time. They would get past Musquin and the top 4 riders so far in the early series. Well, they were all battling in this one. Barcia, Roczen, Baggett, Tomac. Unbelievable intensity as they pushed the pace all over this track. At one point, it looked like Tomac was going to rally from 4th, but then at the halfway mark, Baggett did what he does best. He found another gear. He would get around Roczen. Then he would get around Barcia to go to the lead. This left the overall battle actually up to Roczen and Barcia, who were battling for 2nd. If Barcia hangs on and goes 1-2, the overall is his. But he ran into rear brake problems, and quickly Roczen would get around him. Late in the race, it looked like Baggett was headed toward a 3-1 overall win. But then lap traffic would hold up Roczen just as Barcia was putting in one last push. Roczen did everything he could to try to protect his position. Comes together with Barcia. Roczen goes down. Barcia doesn't. Barcia takes 2nd in the moto. That's enough to get the overall via 1-2 scores, edging the 3-1 performance of Baggett. Roczen would get up in 4th, with Tomac sliding in for 3rd in the moto. Those 4 are really starting to establish themselves as the players for this 250 championship. 450 Moto 1, bad start for series points leader James Stewart, but that didn't stop him. Started about 9th and quickly sliced his way into 2nd. The rider who grabbed the whole shot was the 32 Team Honda Muscle Milk Machine of Tommy Hahn. The 2nd lap, Stewart was able to get by him and go for the lead. Stewart working on his 5th moto win to start the series off, but then he had a huge crash, huge enough to knock him out of contention for the entire day. By the time Stewart had gone down, Red Bull KTM's Ryan Dungey had moved up to the number 2 spot. We were anticipating a battle between he and Stewart. Not going to happen this time, but Stewart out. Instead, Dungey would just pull away and take his first moto win of the year. Behind him, Jake Weimer put on a strong charge of the Monster Energy Kawasaki. He would take 2nd in the moto, and 3rd from way back, Brett Metcalf from the Yoshimura Suzuki. Moto number 2, this time Dungey's got an even better start. He's off to the early lead, and without Stewart there to challenge him, who would step up? How about Colorado's own Andrew Short on the Chaparral Honda? Would keep Dungey in check for the first couple of laps, but slowly but surely and steadily, Dungey would pull away in his KTM, and he was headed to 1-1 scores and the first ever overall win in the big bike class for KTM in American motocross competition. Also, Dungey's going to have a huge point swing on the day and leave here with a pretty big gap over Jake Weimer, who rode very, very well, ended up 4th in the moto. His 2-4 scores would put him in 2nd overall and actually move him to 2nd in the standings ahead of Stewart. As for the podium in the moto, Short hung tough. He would finish in the number 2 spot. Colorado fans were happy with that. And Brock Tickle, who had bike problems in the first moto, bounced back. He would get around Weimer to finish third in moto number 2. Best 450 ride of Tickle's young 450 career. Dungey, Weimer, Shorts, your overall. And let's give a shout out to Nico Izzy. Solid and consistent again on the day. He would end up 4th overall. Metcalf, after a bad start in Moto 2, would end up 5th. And the WMX riders were in action as well for their 3rd round of racing. Moto number 1, another classic Patterson versus Filik showdown. This might have been the best race we've ever seen out of those two. The Honda-mounted Filik pressuring the Rockstar Suzuki-mounted Patterson all over this track. They were never more than 2 bike lengths apart for the entire 20 minutes. Patterson just holds on for a hard-fought first moto win, with Tara Geiger in 3rd. No challenge today, by the way, from the Australian Megan Rutledge, who had crashed in practice. So this left Geiger, Filik, and Patterson to try to duel in Moto 2. Patterson and Filik would have their troubles. Geiger finds herself in the lead in the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda, but she'd make a couple mistakes as well, and that would allow Patterson to get by her and go on to a 1-1 overall win. As for Filik, she took a pretty big digger, was able to somehow cross the finish line in 6th despite riding through pain and salvage a couple of championship points, but that would push her to 3rd overall for the day with Geiger in 2nd. That's it for our race coverage. Now we're going to talk to a very happy winner of the 250 class, Justin Barcia. Okay, we're here with the winner of the 250 class, Justin Barcia. That was one of the crazier days. First of all, a huge break, good battles in the motos. Do you even remember everything that went down?
Not really, no. It was crazy. The weather was crazy today, but it turned out good. You know, that little bit of rain helped the track a lot. First moto, great hole shot, led a good race, kept my pace really strong, and got the win. It was awesome. Felt great. And second moto, got a really good start, got into the lead, led a few laps. Baggett came through, and then Roxon came through, and then it got towards the end of the race, and put on a really hard charge those last about 3 laps. And Roxon, I was catching him, and then we got into some lappers, and he went to go inside behind the lappers. I went outside, and I think he kind of see me out of the corner of his eye and popped a couple ruts, and we hit, and he ended up going down. And it was a crazy day, but I had a lot of fun.
I couldn't believe it. You had not won a race since 2009. You've won some motos. You've obviously won a whole bunch in Supercross. Did that run through your mind? Like, are you thinking, man, I can't believe I haven't won one in a while? Or do you think about that?
Honestly, like this year, I'm thinking about more like being up there every weekend. It's just winning is awesome. Winning is so good. It's the best feeling ever. But to be up here this year, like the top 5 guys are gnarly in the lights class this year. So I think being up there in the top 3 on the podium every weekend is really awesome. And to get that first win feels great. I haven't had a win since 09 Southwick, so it feels awesome. I'm pumped.
Talk about the track here today. We're looking at it now, and it's like rock hard, but you had mud at times, and the ruts were bad. Like, this was one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, it was tougher ones. The ruts, definitely the deepest ruts I've ridden in a really long time. Like, our shrouds were getting caught in the ruts and stuff. It was gnarly, like, just crazy ruts, huge bumps, little slick dry spots, wet spots. It was like anything we get thrown at us, it was there. So it was really cool.
I guess the best all-around guy won then, right?
I'd like to say that, I guess. But, yeah, it was good. We are all riding really good this year, and I think it's going to be a really gnarly championship.
It's going to be fun to watch. All right, that's Justin Barcia, your winner. We're off to High Point. We'll catch you next week on the RacerX Motocross Show.